You're watching Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Very exciting evening tonight. I've got Senator Mike Limtiaco, and we're going to talk about a couple of things. But first and foremost, we'll talk about taxes. A couple of weeks ago. First of all, welcome.
Well, thank you.
I know you have a very busy schedule. I think you just got out of the legislature. You just voted.
Yeah, we just got voted, and we also attended the GPD wreath laying
there
ceremony.
we go. Yeah, it's Police Week or Police Month, something
yes,
like that.
Yes,
Yeah,
so it was a very touching ceremony.
Well, thank you very much for making it in this evening. Senator Limtiaco, a couple of weeks ago, maybe it's been 3 weeks, you wrote a letter to Speaker Wampat asking her the status of the tax commission.
Correct.
Basically by virtue of law, it should have been in place years ago. I remember when it was legislature, I think it was one term, I was a member of the tax commission, and I know at the time we were looking at maybe looking at the prospect of looking at other forms of taxes to move away from the GRT, possibly sales tax, a flat tax, and things of that nature. And I know we had a few meetings. There were committees formed and all that, but I can't remember there was any synopsis,
any type of finality,
finality that came out of it. You're asking, of course, the speaker to say, hey, look, whatever commissions, whatever findings they've had over the years, can you bring that all together and convene the tax, this tax commission board together? And one of the things you're looking at, you've talked about basically is the possibility of maybe delinking. First of all, let's go delinking 101,
sure,
okay? Because there are folks that are delinking. What does that mean? If you delink us from something, does that make us un-American? Does that get us to a form of tax that's not American form of taxation? What does delinking mean?
Basically, it's a and just to take a couple of steps back, the letter to Speaker Wampat was pursuant to Title II, Chapter 11 of our current Guam Code Annotated, which requires the convening of the Tax Review Commission by the legislator, the Legislative Tax Review Commission, every 4 years. So one should have been convened in 2004, 2007, and 2011. So the letter to Speaker Wampat was to request for any information that had come of those legislative commissions, tax review commissions, so that the new freshman senators can disseminate the information, understand where we've been, what we've looked at in the past, so that we can use that to better help aid us in our legislation that we want to pursue. To my knowledge, the Tax Commission was not convened in 2011, so I kindly asked the Speaker to convene it so that we could take a look at not just delinking, but also taking a look, as you said, of whether we need to move away from GRT towards the sales tax. And the findings of this commission is what the information that all the senators would use to help craft legislation potentially to do that. Now, going back to the delinking side, no, it doesn't mean that we're doing our own self-determination. It's just the 1986 Tax Act allowed for Guam to potentially look at having their own tax code system. Right now, the Internal Revenue Code is 60,000 pages long and growing. So Guam is required by law, and just for the listeners out there, if they're interested, Title 48, Section 1421I, basically dictates what type of mirror code or what portions of the Internal Revenue Code Guam is to mirror.
Is to mirror, okay.
Is to mirror.
Okay.
So now delinking from the Internal Revenue Code would mean that we would have to come up with our own tax system. We could look at all kinds of different tax scenarios, whether it's a flat tax or any version of that. We could even mirror everything that's in the Internal Revenue Code, except maybe the things that don't apply to us or would really were meant to address certain issues as in the population of the U.S. mainland, which may not have the same applicability on Guam.
Now, let me ask you, Senator, in regards to that, of course, there are 14 others than yourself in the legislature. Are they ready to move then in regards to possibly looking at again, tax reform? Is GRT? I know there have been states that years ago have implemented, of course, GRT, and in our studies we have seen that GRT has been the most regressive tax there has been, and that's why states had moved to different form of taxes, sales taxes, and things of that nature.
Sure.
Are your 14 other colleagues ready again to move and be open-minded on a different form of tax rather than continuing on with the gross receipts tax?
Well, to our career senators that have gone down this path before, they may have some knowledge base to work off of. But for the new senators, the convening of the Tax Review Commission to help determine whether or not we should move in that direction is the entire purpose of the Legislative Tax Review Commission. So it should be convened, and it should be convened immediately. I know we don't have a budget problem. There was over $800,000 in lapsed funds from several legislatures, so it can't be a money issue. Yeah, it can't be a money issue. So putting some money into this Tax Review Commission so that we can arrive at some sort of finality as to what strategies we should pursue and what alternative tax programs are available. Is money well spent? We owe it to our taxpayers.
And I know going back in the recent past, basically, we're looking about how this came out in regards to reviewing our tax structure here in Guam. What brought that out basically was, of course, remember when the Democrats and the leadership of Speaker Pangilinan at the time led the charge of increasing the GRT.
Sure.
Okay, and they let that, and as a result, of course, we repealed it, and the 6 Republicans, I was one of them that said, hey, look, we can't do this. We must repeal that. So we were able to turn that around and repeal that. That's what heightened again the awareness of this tax structure. And then they're talking about, well, Guam is duty free. Well, we really aren't, because the GRT is a hidden tax.
Correct.
And so when I think it was Senator Pangilinan also that authored to show what the GRT is basically on the receipt when one buys an item, okay, or services, there were a couple I think outlets that on top of the hidden tax, they were showing the additional, like a tax on top of the hidden tax.
Sure.
And so as a result, there was, of course, court case and that came out, and they paid whatever the fines may be and all that. There was a class action regarding that. But that was the awareness again of this tax structure and the regressiveness of the GRT, the form of tax we had. But that's what heightened the alert, the awareness, the people of Guam on the type of tax system we had, and we should possibly move to either delinking or a different form of a tax structure here for the people of Guam. But I tell you, I know you got a lot to say, but we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with Senator Limtiaco. Tama naman.